everybody, it's Shayna with Robinson Repurposing, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you neutral Valentine's Dollar Tree DIYs. Okay, so this first DIY here in this video, this is super simple and basic. All I did was took a black Sharpie and traced over this red because I'm not decorating this year with like the reds and pinks and stuff. I'm using a little bit of light pink, but not the traditional like Valentine's Day colors. So anyway, I just wanted this to look super neutral, and that's all I did here on this part. This part made me really nervous though, if you can tell. I was like trying so hard not to mess up. But anyway, I got that all traced, and then I took some glaze here in a second. I'll show you. And then the next thing I did was took my Van Dyke brown glaze there that I use for a lot of things, and I just kind of distressed this. I dry brushed a little bit of that brown color on there. I just don't like things to be like pure white and perfect. That's just not my style. So I distressed it up a little bit, the tops, the bottoms, the sides, and all that. And this glaze is so easy to work with. I love this glaze. But anyway, that's what I did there. And then here in a minute, I hot glue on a little heart, and I used the same glaze to kind of like give it like a stain effect, just because I had it out. You could definitely use any other color or anything you want, but like I said, I wanted to keep it neutral, and I already had that out sitting there. And then I tied up two little bows and added those to the other side. I used just some jute rope and then some Dollar Tree lace ribbon to add it to the other side. Okay, and there you have it. That's all there was to this. Super simple and basic. Just kind of made it match my decor a little bit more, and it's super pretty. And here's how I decorated it on my hutch, and I think it turned out super cute. Okay, and then here is another super basic, super simple craft, although this one was very time consuming, I'm not gonna lie. So first thing is I took this little 3-heart thing from Dollar Tree, and I unwrapped all the tinsel, which didn't take very long, but it was a little bit of a tedious process. So taking all that off. Okay, and then you wouldn't have to do this step, but I didn't want those little things on there that stick out because I wasn't gonna paint this or anything. But if you wanted to like paint this the same color, because see, I'm gonna wrap this in twine and yarn and ribbon. So if you wanted to like paint this the same color, like white as your ribbon or your twine or whatever, you could definitely just do that. You wouldn't have to take these off. It wouldn't be that noticeable. But I wanted them off because I wanted it to be like a smooth finish. So then I took this ribbon from Dollar Tree, and this section, or this heart, I only did the middle one with this ribbon. And it took me 2 rolls of this ribbon from Dollar Tree. And I can't remember how long it is, but it took 2 rolls of this ribbon. And I'm sorry, but this part is kind of stressful to watch because I kept all the hearts attached because I thought I didn't want to unattach them because I wanted them to stay connected. But here in a little bit, I'm like, well, I can just tie them back together. And I got smart and I unhooked them so that I could do this process a lot easier. But until then, the process is kind of a pain to watch. I was like watching this back and I was like, why didn't I just unhook those? But anyway, like, you get the gist. You understand what I'm doing here. It's super simple. Okay, and right there you can see I was having a real pregnancy brain moment. I left the ribbon on the spool and was trying to pull it through there, and then it dawned on me like, hey, you should take that off and then pull it through. It's much easier. So I'm sorry that I feel like this part is a little stressful for me to watch it back because I'm like, oh my gosh, Shayna, you are so crazy. But anyway, so I promise it's worth it in the end though. It turns out really cute, but it's so painful to watch for me. Okay, and then once I got it all wrapped up, there were a few places where there were gaps. So I just took in the scrap ribbon and I hot glued it down into those areas where there were like little gaps, and that just wrapped it around the back so you couldn't see it, and it looked good. It looked fine like that. Okay, and then here I started on the yarn wrapping around the heart, and I did this in sections. So I like took that yarn. This is Dollar Tree yarn, by the way, which I didn't realize I carried until like a week ago. But anyway, I took it in sections because this took a long time. I'm not even gonna pretend like it didn't. And I do everything down in my craft room, so like I didn't even go sit down to do this. It took forever. So anyway, just wrapped, and you can see there I finally got it done. Okay, and then I took some more yarn and just wrapped it around like that, about the same size as the loops were before, and I just tied them in a little knot and made a little loop like that. I don't really know how to describe that other than you can just watch what I did there. And then on this, I would recommend, like, if you didn't really want that maroon red color to show through from the wreath form of this, I would paint that. I would just like dab that with like a matching paint color, but I took ribbon here, as you can see on the bottom side, and just tied it around there and draped it down, and it kind of covered that bottom red piece so you couldn't see that. So I was satisfied with that look, but like if you wanted to really finish it off and not show any of that red, you definitely could like paint that or something. And then for that top loop, instead of the yarn, because I feel like the Dollar Tree yarn is honestly a little bit flimsy, it's like kind of chintzy, seems like it's gonna rip. I used a thicker, like a jute rope that I have that's like a cream color, and then I just tied a bow, or not really a bow. I just tied the ribbon around. I didn't really want these to be bows, but I wanted it to cover like that. So anyway, I did that. That's how I finished it off. And then that's it. That's all there was to this. It took a while, but it was very basic, so very easy DIY, but just time consuming. So I hung it on my cabinets in my kitchen, and I think it looks really cute there. My daughter came home after I got this done and hung up, and she goes, "Mom, that looks so cute there." She's sweet. Okay, moving on to the last one in this video. I took this little baggie from Dollar General, but it was only $1 as well. And I took that frame, which I have had on hand for probably a year or two. I cannot remember where I got it, honestly. It's not from Dollar Tree. It's from one of the craft stores. And I took it apart. It was a canvas, and I took it apart to make reverse canvases when I first started doing my Cricut stuff. But then I ended up never using it. So that's where that's from. Okay, and I cut that bag up kind of funny, you'll see there, like, but I wanted it to have enough room on the back to where I could staple it to the back. So that's why I cut it the way I did. And then I took was burnt umber paint, and I watered it down, and then I just kind of did like a stain effect on this frame because I'm gonna paint it white here in a minute, and then I wanted it to be distressed. So I obviously wanted like the darker brown to come through rather than that raw wood. So that's why I did this, and that's the color, burnt umber. And I also didn't worry about like full coverage of the brown paint because I knew I was gonna distress this up. And then I started out with the color Toasted Marshmallow. It's just an apple barrel paint. And then I put a coat of that on, and then I also like kind of mixed in some white, you'll see here in a sec. And then I got tired of the acrylic paint, honestly, because it was taking forever to dry, like to get coverage, and I was tired of it. So I got out my cotton chalk paint by Dixie Belle, and I just put on one more coat of it, and I was done. So chalk paint has way better coverage than acrylic paint. Okay, and then the last step on this frame is I took my little paint scraper thing there and scraped up the edges of the frame to give it that distressed look. And then I also took some sandpaper and just finished it off with that and made it look really distressed and pretty. Okay, and then I got the little bag back out and set it where I wanted it in the frame. And then I flipped this over really carefully and then stapled like all around it so that this would hold on here. And then I go in with my X-Acto knife and cut off the excess. So as you can see there, I just kind of played around with it in all the corners and kind of like got everything where I wanted it, stapled, cut off. I just kept doing that. And then to make this look really like nice and finished, I took this burlap I had on hand and I just stapled it to the back real nice and neatly so that this would just have, you know, a completed finished look and not look sloppy on the back like it did without the burlap. Which honestly doesn't bother me for me personally in my home if I was gonna keep this, but I do sell some of these crafts that I make on Facebook. I post them and I sell some of them. So obviously the ones that I sell, I want them to look nicer than, you know, the back did without the burlap. But for in my home, like I said, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. Okay, so I hot glued all the edges, and then you'll see here I just put one staple in each corner to just really keep it held on there. And there you have it. There's a look at how it turned out. I think it's super cute and distressed and fun. You know, for only a few dollars, it's a really cute little sign to have in your home. And as always, thank you so much for watching.